Oh, you can.
Well, I'd like to welcome you all to our regular SKB Zoom and Share. This is a special Zoom presentation that we do every 2 weeks. And we're trying to introduce people to the artists and instructors who work at the Susan Kathleen Black Foundation workshop out in Wyoming and other places. And we're introducing you to them and the stuff that they do so that you get a chance to see ahead of time what's involved in that. And this week, we're happy to bring Stephen Left to our group presentation here. Steve has been part of the Susan Kathleen Black Foundation practically forever. And he's been involved in it in all kinds of different ways, but we asked him to come and make a presentation today based on the unique skill set that he has, which is working with Photoshop. Most people have heard of Photoshop, but excuse me, Photoshop is primarily used by photographers everywhere in the world. The biggest, most popular, most understood, and most misunderstood software for photographs. What people don't realize is that a lot of painters and the more savvy painters have been using Photoshop for years to do the kind of stuff that Steve does. And we asked him to come and introduce people to the unique methods that Photoshop allows artists to use to prepare for painting and to work with your ideas. Steve is, he paints a lot of wildlife. He paints in both acrylic and oils, although mostly in oils. And he does a lot of bird painting. He's been in Birds and Art, and he does a lot of big sea, open ocean fish and stuff like that. Very versatile, very skilled drawing wise, painting wise, and also Photoshop wise. So Steve, it's all yours.
Hold on 1 second before you go, Steve. I muted everybody so that you know that.
Okay.
If you would like to talk to Steve, just hold down the space bar on your computer, ask him a question, and then you'll be back to muted. But I want to mute everybody so we don't have phone calls or dogs barking. Because if your dog barks, my dog barks, and it's a mess. So there we go. All right, Steve, you're up to go. You can screen share anytime you're ready, buddy.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so the painting on the left is what I garnered from the photo on the right. The photo on the right is my working file, okay, in the Photoshop world. I'm gonna just go and make it just that one. And move you people over. If you see on the right side is layers file, okay, and these are all of the layers that I use to create this image. I'll erase some of them. You can just see where I started from. So that basically is the photo that I started from. And I really didn't do much changing to it. Although the photo file that I have of all these photos I took of these birds is huge. I've got almost 200 photos of these birds at this feeder, you know, in different positions. And I had other positions and other files, and it just got too complicated with the amount of birds. So it's just a matter of grabbing different elements from other photos and bringing them in. See here, I've just extended the bottom because I wanted a little more length to it. Playing around with leaves and branches. Pulled up the top. That was another one I was trying and I didn't like it. Now what I do is, I'll show you on this. So this is the picture, the photo of the bird without, I wanted to make its head look up at you, okay, so that you were part of the painting. So what I would do is basically cut him out from another photo. So that's basically the cutout. The cutout tool over on the left side looks like a lasso. And you could just go along. I tend to cut out with the lasso like that. And then what I'll do is I'll take the eraser. You know, before I go any further on this, I want to show you some of the tools I have. Because I've got this is my mouse. It's a wireless mouse. It's real handy because you don't have a cord to it. This is my tablet. You got to have one of these if you're going to work in Photoshop. And it's a Wacom bamboo tablet. And it's just like, you know, using a pen and a piece of paper. It's the way we all learned how to draw and write. That's my scanner. So with the eraser, click on the layer. And this is something that's pretty important. When you're doing work on a layer, you might want to make, as you see, it's already been copied. That's the original, okay? And so I'll work on the original. But what I did was I made a copy of it. I like this, but always make a copy if you're going to work from another layer. Yeah, I do it with this.
Adding the layer might confuse you, but in the long run, if you don't like what you did, it's so much easier than doing anything else.
Now you can take this and you can do this too with it. Go up to edit, copy, edit, paste. Now you got the cutout image. I pretty much do that with just about all the photos that I work with. In your eraser tool, okay, go up to the top here and you have the side brushes. So this is a hard eraser. Edit, step backwards if you don't like it. This is a semi-hard one. Edit. I didn't catch that.
There was somebody trying to, just got in, wasn't muted, sorry.
This is a tool I like to use more. It's a softer brush. It gives you a better edge, softer edge. And you can change the size by taking this and moving it.
Can you zoom in?
Say again?
Zoom in so we can see a little bit better? Thank you.
Now, sometimes you can take this wand tool here and click on, well, first go up here to contiguous. You have to click on, if you don't click on contiguous, what happens is if you pick a, like if I pick this black, it's going to take all the blacks. Deselect, go back up to click on contiguous, and I can just grab those. And then what you can do is you can just delete that. Push the delete button. But see, I don't like it because that's what it does. It gives it too much of a crispy edge. Edit, step backwards, select, deselect. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a little tension in the piece. So I added this bird here. Give a little tension between these two. This is another thing that I kind of wandered into. What you do is you click on the eyedropper tool, and this will give you your colors, and they'll put them over here on the left side. So if I clicked on the green, it would turn it green. Clicked on this, it'll turn it that color. So what I do is I click on the gray, the background color. And then what I do is I come to this rectangular marquee tool, click on that, and I create another layer. Over here on the left side, you got new layer, duplicate layer. So I could duplicate that bird again just by clicking on it, okay? So I click new layer, okay? And if you, this is what I use to crop, okay? So I've got this marquee tooled up. I go edit, fill, and it says foreground color or background color. I just push okay. Select, deselect. And so that way I see how I might want to crop it. To reselect it, come to edit, free transform, and you can pull it this way and crop it even more. Anytime you want to apply, you have to apply the work that you've done. You just go over here and click on any one of these and just don't apply or apply. If I don't want to see it, I arrow it out.
Steve, can you bring that toolbar over closer to your image? The one on the left.
You like doing that?
Yeah, so they can see it better.
So this was that's basically how I started the painting. I painted the whole background yellow, toned the board yellow because I wanted a yellow glow. I wish I would have done it in orange after the fact because these birds had this orange glow. And this is done in acrylics. And sometimes you get that glow from the board if you you know, because the paint goes on so thin, it's just that essence of glow underneath it. That was another stage. Thought I had one of the finished. So that's the painting that I finished up with. And I didn't really care much. I mean, it just needed something else. And so what I did was I grabbed this background and I worked this background into that painting. Can't get to my
Did you have to cut around all the birds and the bird feeder?
no, I had to do this the old fashioned way. I had to take this photo and paint it from what I see, because I wasn't about to cut around all that and edit. Now you can do that, but it's just real time consuming. So it just made a you know, a better painting from that one.
I guess I didn't understand what concept you were trying to say to how you did that.
Oh, okay. So this is the painting that I had. What I did was I took that other photo I had and I just painted without using a Photoshop photo of all the birds with it. I just painted it the old fashioned way from, you know, that other photo. From those trees and those plants, those leaves.
Well, I would suggest if I was doing that and I had a picture of the foliage in the background and I wanted to combine it with the birds, I would basically create a layer of the foliage, put that on top, and then I would just go in with an eraser and erase the foliage where the birds and the planter are.
Yeah.
And that's one option. And the other thing is if you're in layers, whatever layer you want to select, you do have a refine edge, and that menu will give you basically the option of fuzziness in terms of how much selection you want to do. It gives you edge selection, and between the two of them, I think you could probably knock that out in Photoshop fairly easily. So that's just my 2 cents worth.
Yep. This is a big file. This is another one I did. This is more in the line of fish. This has a lot of layers to it. I'll show you the finished. So you see what I finished up with. You see all the, if you look on the right side, you can see all the layers that I used in doing this, creating this. It was a story that I basically wanted to tell. Down here in Florida, we had a lot of rum runners back in the day. And so some of them made it and some of them didn't. And so that was basically the concept. It was a lost painting or lost, I did another painting of a tarpon with an old lost lobster trap. So it's kind of a series that I was working on.
Which one's the finished piece? The one on the left or the one in the middle there?
The one on the right is the finished piece,
Oh,
this one. You can
So
see I'm
you
pretty,
just erase the fingers then on the other side?
yeah, you just pretend like they're not there. You know, and I know how to paint the fins. Yeah, it's, you just get rid of them. I could literally take this and do it, you know. I mean, I could go in here and rework the fins, but it's just easier to, well, in fact, I did it with the dorsal. Just got to find it. A lot of times you can name these. Yeah, there we go.
Naming them was so much fun, but
You see, I had to add a dorsal because it was cut off in the photo. So I just grabbed it from another fish. In fact, it might even be from the one next to it. So it's all about, composing what you want to do before you start doing it. I'll show you with the bottles. You see, I played around with a lot of backgrounds. Top water, grasses. Foreground. These are all cut out and moved. Boat. This is probably the most I've ever done with a.
and this is why it's called layers.
Yeah. And again, it's what's you put on top of it, each one goes on top of the other. It's a little thing I wanted to show everybody too. So you go into image, no, go into edit, transform, and they got this thing called warp. And this is a great tool if you're trying to make this snout go a certain way, or you want to widen a bottle, or and I'll show you another way that you can move stuff closer to you. So you just grab these points and you can pull them, make it longer, taller. It's a great tool. Click on here, don't apply. So that didn't apply. Now what I would do is, so say I was going to fool around with this, what I would do is make a copy. Go up here, duplicate layer, and it'll duplicate that layer so that I don't mess around with the one I looked at. Or you can do what I just did and just undo it. Edit, transform. This is another one I like using. It's distort. So say I want to make the bottom of the bottle, you know, wider than the top. Make it look like it's moving away from you. Or you could do it the other way. Move it closer to you, the top. This is all the stuff that you can find in here that I haven't even found half of the stuff that you can do. But this is this is all I need. These certain, what would you call them? Things, structures that you can use. Crap,
Do you do a preliminary sketch of any kind of your idea?
yeah, I
before
did
you-
I did a quick sketch, you know, in pencil, and of basically what I wanted to do. And then I just had to find the photos and, you know, the bottles, and then sometimes it'll change. I mean, sometimes the sketch is just a basic sketch, a basic idea, you know, and then just start composing them. You know, that was the original. That's the original of the one next to it. So you just do edit, transform, flip horizontal. Oh, that's on the bottle. That didn't work. Edit, transform, flip horizontal. It just flips the fish.
How'd you change that color, Steve?
Oh, good question. Good question. Okay. So what I do when I do my coloring, image adjustments, and I do go between two places, color balance. Okay. So what I want to do is, it's kind of a greenish brownish. So what I want to do is I want to move this to cyan, more cyan, and then move this one more blue. A little more green. And that's pretty much the way I do it.
That's one of the biggest problems with Photoshop. You can color balance 4 different ways and get the
Yep.
same answer.
Yeah, like hue saturation, okay, it basically does the same thing. So you've got masters and you got different colors that you can choose. I'm going to do the master. And this is, I mean, you see, you can make it greener still, red, purple, orange. And then saturation, you can really boost the color. And if you want to flatten it, make it more pale, like, you know, with the boat in the background, just hit it lighter. And there's another way of making things lighter. Image adjustments, brightness contrast. So you just take the brightness bar and you move it towards the right. You want to make it darker, you move it to the left. You see here, this one here was the first fish rendition I did. And I made a copy of it and made it bigger. Another one made it bigger still, because I might want to come back and I've lost that size if I don't make a copy of it. Edit, free transform, and you can take them and move them any way you want.
Where do all the copies get stored?
Well, right here in this file, it's just in this file. You could create, so
But how do you locate them? I don't see where it is. Is it on the layers?
yeah, they're all in the layers on the right side. If I could make this thing bigger, I would, but I can't.
So they're also copies then.
Yeah, these are all, yeah. So I've made duplicates. So again, I would take this file and I would go up here, duplicate layer. And it would give me another one.
Are your originals brought, do you import them from your photographs? Is that
Yeah.
where it comes from?
Yeah, a file, open.
I would also point out that if you look at all the layers, the ones on the left of that panel that have eyes are the ones that are visible. And all the other copies that are not part of the picture do not have that little eye. So they're just sitting there if you need it. And again, as backup and everything. But the only thing you're going to see is you turn that eye on and off, and that actually shows up in the image.
Yeah, so that's the most extensive one I think I've ever done as far as painting goes, and you can grab all these off of Google. I recommend making it your own. You can take, like I took the tail of this and I warped it a little bit more to give it a little bit more action. So you can do that with feathers. You can move trees. I wanted to show you guys this too. So sometimes you'll get a file that won't show up. Okay, that you'll bring it down and there'll be an HTML on it that won't let you see what the image is. Okay, so what you do is you right click and open with. Now what I did was I changed this. This originally came in as a Photoshop and I changed it to Firefox. So I go to Firefox, it'll open the file. Okay, and these are all images that are there. And what I wanted was, I wanted this girl just in the action that she's doing. So you right click it again and you save as, and then it'll save it as a JPEG. And there she is up here. So it's a way of getting files that sometimes you can't get. Oops. I lost myself, Anthony.
I don't see where you're at.
Yeah, I'm
The
lost.
screen's locked up. Are you in? Did it go to Firefox? Hit the escape button, see if it goes away.
There, oh. There we go.
There we are.
Oh, here we go. This is a fun one I did. And I'm just going to go, I've got a working file on this, but I'm just going to go through the stages that I did. Okay. Here, let me do this. No, didn't want to do that.
So to click open.
You guys were in the way. Okay, so this is the painting that I ended up with.
That's what you started off with? That's pretty cool.
That's what I ended up with. This was just outside of Du Bois, heading into Jackson, and It's all Indian paintbrush. The whole hillside was just filled with it. Okay, and I had it in my files. I took pictures of it, and I thought I want to do this buffalo painting, and so I thought, well, that'd be really cool to accent against the red of the buffalo and the red of the Indian paintbrush. So then I
Now,
added a foreground.
was
from
that in
another-
September too?
Say again?
Was that taken in September, that grass?
No. I think this was in June.
Okay.
That's fireweed in early fall. That's across from Togany Lodge, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if we made it that far. I thought it was closer to Du Bois. Anyway, I played around with that background and didn't care much for it. Added a buffalo this way, and it just didn't really give the size that I wanted. So then, and the story with this buffalo, and I like telling people this. So I went, the first time I was ever in Yellowstone, everybody does this. They all go and you're in Lamar Valley and here's these buffalo way off in the distance. So you get out of your car and you walk way down there. Try to get as close as you can without getting run over. And you take a picture and then you bring it back and there's this little tiny buffalo in the picture. So I thought, man, it stinks. So driving down the road a little further, all of a sudden here, this guy comes just wandering right past the car. And so you never know what you're going to get as far as photos go. So these are paintbrush that I added to the foreground. You see them there. And then that's the painting. It's big. It's a big painting. And I wanted them coming in to not all of them showing because it just makes him come into the painting just a little bit more excitement. But that was an easy one to do because he's just cut out. This is a big file. This is a Yellowstone going towards Jackson. And as you see over here on the right, all the layers that I have, they're all different photos of these buffalo. So that's basically what I started with. And then sometimes if you put something behind, you can work it behind it. So this file right here is behind this one. So it basically is underneath when you're doing grasses.
Did you get all the background shots?
Say again?
Where did you get all the backgrounds at?
All other photos I've taken, basically of this scene. So you'll sit on the scene and you'll take a bunch of different photos. So you just combine them, in your composition. But again, I was just sitting down. I haven't done a painting of this. I was just sitting down and trying to work out an interesting painting. I like that. It's a little piece I did.
Is this the bear that chased you while you were painting?
Did the what?
Is this the bear that chased you while you were painting?
No, that if that one would have ate me. So this is pretty much the painting or the photo I started with. Okay, and then I made a copy of it, you know, just because I didn't want to ruin the original one. And the rock, for the composition I was doing, the rock was just a little bit too more this way because I was going to put a bear in. I wanted to show more of the rock. So I had different size bear. So, okay, plop down the bear. And what I want to do is I want to put the bear behind this log. So what I did was I took my lasso and lassoed around the log. And then I made a copy of it and put it over the bear's leg. Changed his leg, put a little bit more interesting one on. Again, these are all cutouts that you know, it's like paper dolls almost. You're just doing them in the computer. This was interesting. This is a painting I had done and I didn't really care for it. So I whited it all out and ended up reworking it. So this is the working file for that. This. That's my sizers. Those trees, bird, branch, and then crop. These branches up here, I stole these from Robert Bateman, from one of his books. I figured if he can make good branches, then I'm going to steal his branches. I wanted to show you guys this. This is one of my favorite paintings. This is by Richard Schmidt. It's just a little painting. And he just died, I guess, yesterday or the other day, passed away. And I've always loved this painting. It's just a simple thing. And it's called Chipmunk. And can you guys find a chipmunk? I'll help you out. He kind of directed your eye right towards it. Right there. It's just a great painting of it. I'd done this one in SKB last year. So a lot of times I recommend, I work off of grids when I do a painting, and you can do your own grid on your photo, you know, just by lining them all up, you know, do them by halves and halves again and halves again. You know, it just helps detail wise when you're getting down to the painting. I don't project it onto the board. I just start painting it. I don't use pencil either to draw it on. I just use the paintbrush. So this was one I did, I showed last year at SKB. So this is basically, it was a really dark photo. I'll show you. That's pretty much what I started working from. And he was really in the shadows. Here, I'll show you. This is what I started with. So there's another way of getting light into a painting. Go into image adjustment, go down to shadow and highlight. And you see how quickly that changed. It'll open automatically like 35, and then you just tone it back a little. And I always tell people this, you know, if you've got clouds that you can't see the detail in them. I should have gotten some clouds to do this. Let me make it really bright. What you do is you go down here to where it says highlights, which never made sense to me, okay? Because this says shadows, but it made it light. And this says highlights, but what it does is it makes it darker. So you can go into a cloud, and all the digital files are like this. So if you were to take Wayne, take a picture of a Wayne with his white beard, and he's outside and the sun is shining, and you can't see the detail, you know, the little shadows in the hairs on his beard, you just, on your picture, you could leave it like this, or just do an up color, but you take the highlight part and you just start adding more darks to it. And all of a sudden, you'll see the essence in his beard. It's all there, it just needs to come out.
May I suggest on the shadows and highlights, because I use it all the time. If you go back and you look at the advanced settings, you can do a lot with the advanced settings as well to just kind of tweak it and get even more than what you just have with the basics.
Yeah.
But, that to me is the go-to tool in a lot of adjustments photographically.
Yeah, that everybody, you know, like I said, this is just, I mean, I play around with it, and this is another thing. I just found this year. Let me do this. Let me get a better. So when I did this boat scene, because the original composition, you saw that wasn't very interesting. That's the warmer background, and I wanted to cool it off. Now, what I normally would have done is I would have gone in fact, I did, image adjustment, and I go to color balance, and then I would just start moving the blue and cooling off the background. Oops, wrong one. So you can cool off the background by doing that. Image adjustments, go to photo filter. Now the photo filter, they give you all these different photo colors that you can use. Okay, right now it's on a warming filter. Okay, if I want a cooling filter, it just takes a color like a blue, a PMS blue, and you just click on that, and you can make it even cooler just by taking the density and moving it. Can make it look underwater with more green. But I've been doing this for years, and I just found this past year. It's a great tool for changing color in a hurry.
Stephen, what was that tool that you used?
Okay, you go into image adjustments, and it's called photo filter,
Okay.
and it'll start with the warming filter, but then you got all these other ones that you can use.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
know. I thought it was too. I want to see something here. Yeah. So I carved out this guy. Okay. Again, cutting and erasing. Because I had two different photos of them doing different stuff, and to me this was more interesting. That's the him with that different hand gesture. And this was the other one. This is where I got the pretty much the boxes and the floor and the net from. As you see the background, it just didn't, you know, do much. That's why I put the boats in there, a little bit more emphasis. I had a top to it, just some nautically top stuff. And then I wanted something else in the piece, you know, to kind of bring it in a little bit more. So I just threw the cat in there. Net, that was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of fun painting it too. And there he is, painted. It's a big piece. I think 2436. Might even be 2636.
Really gorgeous too.
Thank you. So a lot of times, nah, I didn't like that one. A lot of times you'll have a file, okay, and you've worked on it and you've made changes to it, and you want to go a different direction, but you don't want to spend all the time moving all this stuff around. You can just make another copy of that file. Just take that file and just make another copy of it. You know, you would just save as, file, save as, and you just give it a different name. You know, you make a 1 or an A or a B. Then you have two files of the same stuff. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll go and make it a different size. Let's say in my fish world, I'll have a file that, I think I brought one in here. So this is a t-shirt file. And what I'll do is most of my files will work at 600 DPI and then bring it down. So I'll have a 600 DPI file and then I'll recreate it in 300 DPI and save it as 300 DPI. But I still have the 600 in case I want to use it for other stuff. So this is all the layers in this happy little piece. Yeah, did it again. This I wanted to show you guys this. Okay, this is kind of a thing I wandered into. Playing around. Okay, so it's a pencil drawing. And what I do is I take the pencil drawing and I make a copy, okay, background copy. And I turn that copy purple. Okay, I can make another one. Duplicate layer. Okay, you do this with your drawings. Okay, so now I got another layer. I'll go into image adjustments, color balance, and I'll make that more blue. So then what I'll do is I'll go my eraser and I'll erase out some of the blue and let the purple show through. You see how quickly you can create a bunch of different colors just from a pencil drawing. Man, it's getting to be a pain. What's happening, Anthony, is I keep trying to erase these and you got that mute, stop video, participants, new share, and
I know what you're talking about. It's like right in your way.
yep, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I hear you.
Anybody got questions? Got to be questions. I have tons of them.
How do you cut out most of your pieces? You do it just by hand or you follow the lines or what?
Well, okay, so again, remember I said I had this, okay, that little pen mark there, and I got my tablet, and I'm just going to leave that. I'll do it with this guy.
Yeah, I forgot about that pad. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, it's called the Wacom tablet. And they have all other tablets. They have all different types. All right, so what I would do is, okay, so I'm going to take this bird, I'm going to duplicate it. Okay, go over here to your lasso tool. Now, some people use the polygonal lasso tool and magnetic, but I don't care much. It's just a pain. Those things, they just wander all over the place while you're working. So I try to get as close as I can. But you gotta have a pen set. You can't, I mean, you could do this with a mouse if you want. Whoever invented the mouse is an idiot.
You can do it with the mouse. It's not easy, but if you have years of experience with the mouse, it's not that
Exactly.
hard.
But
Because I've been doing it with the mouse forever.
I use
that's
a
because
mouse.
they didn't have pens.
I use a mouse also.
And I actually have a tablet, but I prefer the mouse, so go figure.
It's all in the comfort level of the person.
Yeah. But again, to me, the mouse is like a giant ballpoint pen. Okay, he's completely surrounded. What I would do is go edit, edit, select, edit, redo lasso, edit, copy, edit, paste. So now I got a bird all by his lonesome. And then what I would go in and erase too small. So you get the idea.
Where's the eraser at? I don't see it.
Okay, here, let me bring this over closer. I wish I could make this bigger. Here's the eraser right here. That's the eraser.
Can you zoom in a bit?
It won't, I don't think it zooms with this. It doesn't zoom your tools.
No, zoom in on the parrot.
Oh, okay.
No, that didn't help.
No, the tools always stay the same size. If I could make them bigger, I would. I'm getting older and I can't see them as well. Here's another cool tool. Make it smaller. It's called Clone Stamp Tool. You took it, you pick your size and your brush. So I like the semi-hard, a little smaller. And say I wanted to add another feather over here. You press down on the Alt button and you stamp it there. And you take it. Oh, I'm not on it. Yeah, I am. Why ain't that working? There we go. Yeah, it's not doing it. I know why. That's why. I had a layer on top of it. It's a handy dandy tool. Again, just keep,
You make the copy, could you just use just one layer as opposed to multiple layers? Or is it whatever desired effect that you want?
well, if you're composing for a painting, you're going to use a lot of, you need a lot of layers. Otherwise, you're just painting a painting, painting a photo. I can duplicate this again, him again, duplicate layer. So now I get 2 of them. Is that what you were talking about?
Yes, thank you.
Up in the upper right corner above the bar, it says Essentials, Design and Painting. What are they for?
You know what? I don't know. You could ask the really expert. It gives you all your essentials that you're using.
Well, I can actually answer that. That controls your screen layout. So basically, if you have design, for instance, as the measurement tools and things like that, essentials is the most commonly used tools and so on. I mean, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head because I pretty much just use essentials, but it controls the screen layout. I also have just one thought for Steve.
Yeah.
If you go up with your toolbar, and right at the top is the move tool, which is the right pointing arrow with a little.
Yeah.
If you're on that and you take that move tool and right to the edge of the menu strip, you might be able to pull that and resize it, just like you pull a selection and resize the selection. So that might be a way to enlarge the tool strip.
Yeah, you know what? I used to have. Yeah, see, that's why I used to have that. See, I got CS5. I used to have it when I had a lower, I think it was maybe CS3, and I could do that. And I found that I cannot make that do what you just said. That's why I go into image or edit free transform. Because it just, I wasn't able to do it that way anymore.
Well, I'm actually I have CS5, and what I was talking about is just resizing the tool.
Oh, okay.
Window.
How do you make it?
You try to grab along the outside edge and then just pull it.
You all see me doing this, right? It don't work for me.
Hold down the shift key when you try it.
I tried. I did the shift key and the alt key.
If you move the whole bar into the working space in the white area and then try it, would it work?
It just moves the bird.
Just to let you know, I'm trying to do it on my Mac and it's not letting me do it either.
You must have a haunted machine. You can do stuff we can't. That's weird. Yeah,
What was it you were trying to do?
trying to make this toolbar over here bigger.
Oh,
So somebody had a secret recipe to it and it didn't work for me and it didn't work for Anthony.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
You change the layout of it by clicking that little thing in the upper left-hand corner on yours. That changed the layout of it.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I did that the other day and I'm used to doing it this way. I'm like, I clicked on it by accident. I'm like, oh no. And then I had to click around to find out how to get it back. And I did. So yeah, you can double stack it That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that before, but I'm used to, the up and down. Like I said, you guys get this Photoshop, you can play with all kinds of stuff. I just try to get to composing a painting as quickly and easily as I can. You can spend, I'm not a Photoshop master. I don't even pretend to be. I'm just trying to use it as a tool to help me make paintings so that I have one photo, maybe two at the most, one photo of what I'm trying to paint. And the composing part is where you're separating yourself from painting a photograph. You know what I mean? Buffalo walking through sage, that's fine. But, if you can make them do something else or add stuff to it, that's what makes it interesting. So everybody get yourself a tablet and get Elements if you got a Apple. Hey, does Elements work with PC too, or is it just
Yeah,
Apple?
yeah,
Yes.
it does.
It does?
Both.
And it's a real deal. How much did you see it for, Anthony?
$149 on Amazon,
But you saw it cheaper somewhere else.
$79 at Best Buy. It's all over the
Yeah.
place. I put the link in the chat button at the beginning of the meet talk.
Do you
I
have,
paid $99 putting it on the mat yesterday.
do you have any experience using?
There's also a 3-day free trial.
Those of us that don't know what that does, give us a little, I know you draw with it, but what else does it do? What's it, how are you using it?
The tablet?
Yes.
Well, you use it like this is it. You use it like a pen.
You've been using it the whole time, haven't you?
Say that again?
You've been using it the whole time. You have not been using the mouse, correct?
No, I've been using the mouse too. The mouse is quick. It's just, I use this to draw with and erase with, pretty much. All those,
It does the same thing as a mouse, only you got a better feel. and
control,
better-
yeah,
Even
I
why
mean,
don't you pick it
I
up and
can-
show it to everybody? Pick it up and put it in front of the camera so they can see what you're talking about.
Take a rag and knock you down, make sure no chips or anything on there hanging, no?
Okay, I've got the one.
No, I got it. I'm just talking.
get over there.
Do you use CorelDRAW or any of the Illustrator, any of the vector graphics
I
packages?
do use Illustrator for more t-shirt design stuff, and but it's real exacting. There's not a lot of photo use for it. It's just all boxes and triangles, and it makes great circles and shapes. You get those little nodes and you can go to town making a heart like nobody's business. But as far as creating for photographs, it doesn't really work. And the other one, I don't use Corel.
Corel has natural media, to some extent. I mean,
Yeah, there's a lot of people that use them.
I didn't even know Corel's still around.
Oh yeah, and then just one other thing, if you want to just experiment with it without spending any money, there's always GIMP, and GIMP is a very robust package, except it's a slightly different screen layout. I mean, you'd really have to relearn things in Photoshop, although it does exactly what Photoshop does, and there's a dozen different imaging packages that do more or less. But GIMP is totally free and open source, so I would recommend GIMP as a nice way to get your feet wet as well.
Isn't that only for the PC? Am I correct on that?
GIMP is PC, Mac, Linux. It's all over the place. It's like I say, any machine would probably run GIMP.
There's another way to change color, tone. I'm just using the wand. Let's try hue saturation. Give her sunburn. There's another color tool I use. There's so many in this. This one I use a lot to boost the photo. A lot of times they'll come washed out. So it's called selective tool. So let me start from the beginning. Image, adjustments, selective color, and they give you choices: red, yellow, green, cyan, blue, magenta, white, neutrals, and black. What I do is I mostly go to neutrals. Go to neutrals, and I'll boost the black. You see she got a little bit more toned. I can boost the red, boost the yellow, boost the blue. And you take them out too. But I bounce between all these different, like I said, and others have said, there's a lot of different ways of getting color. Susie asked me, what was that? See if I can do this. Shadows.
Yeah. Yes, it's cool.
Hey, Steve,
Yeah.
if you got a basic photograph and that you could show people how to take just any object out of a photograph and put it somewhere else. So you extract, like these birds that you've been working with. Let's say that you had another photograph of those birds from something else or any other thing. They just want to know how to extract an image out of one photograph to use it in either another layer or in a different photograph.
Well, how about if I took her leg and made it go higher?
Yeah, that would work too. It's the same process.
Yeah. So I take my wand or my pen.
Lasso.
Yep, the lasso. And I'll go a little bit further. Edit, copy, edit, paste. Free transform. I can take her. Oh, let's make her foot bigger. This way it looks like it's coming out at you. And that what I did there was just went into edit, transform, and I went into distort. And I just made her leg bigger. So you can do that with a wing. I recommend this, okay? People always have a problem. You taking a picture of an elk from a long way off, right? And when you look at the photo, the elk's got this tiny little butt, or he's got this head that's just really small. If you grab onto the head, make a copy of it and enlarge it, you just make it bigger. That way it looks like it's coming at you and it doesn't look like it's a picture that you took from a long way off with a zoom camera. I always do it. I always make things, you know, that are coming towards me bigger, you know, and stuff. It just makes the painting more believable. Birds, take a picture of an eagle wing. When you look at it, the size of the feathers are the same as the ones that are further away. So you just grab that wing and you bring it closer to you. You make it bigger.
Now do the shadow. My favorite.
Okay. I'm gonna take it from here. Okay, what you do is, if you want to go on the other side, you can hit Shift key. Do it on the other side. Now, there's many ways of doing this. You can, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create another layer. Go up here, new layer. So that's my new layer, layer 2, okay. And then what I'm gonna do is I can take this gray that I have and I'll just do edit, fill, foreground color. Okay, so it made it gray. Now, if I want it darker, image, adjustments, brightness, contrast, you make it darker. That's one way of doing it. And then you can take your brush tool, eyedropper, grab onto that, brush tool, pretty good size. Deselect or it won't work. And you can soften the edge. Or,
Can you do that with the eraser as well?
yes.
Okay.
So you can take the eraser, brush tool.
Okay, gotcha. Cool.
Softens the edges.
Yeah.
Or do another new layer. Okay. I can just go straight to brush tool.
That's cool. Yeah.
See, and then if you went over her shoe like that, just go back to your eraser and pull it out.
Yeah.
I was talking about the cloud thing before. I see stuff in her boot that you really can't see. Image adjustments, shadow highlight. Take the baby down. And see, now you can see she's got some design in her boot. And this works great in clouds and, you know, where you really can't see.
Yeah.
These work just as well with, let's see.
So you can even, if you wanted to, Steve, you could change the color of the boot or even make the dress longer, correct?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can do it, especially with the warp tool. You really can have some fun with that. Edit. Let's see. Image. Edit. Transform. Warp. Oops, sorry. Hey. Oh, I know. Let me finish this first. Okay, so I've got her top,
Marked,
marked.
last suit.
Okay, so what I'll do is, okay, I've got her top marked, but it's just marked there. So what I'll do is create another layer, new layer, okay? And I'll fill.
Not even 1 o'clock.
Say what? Edit, fill, and I'm filling this orange color.
Oh.
Okay, now what you do is come up here to opacity. Okay, right above the layers. You can take it down.
Huh. Wow.
Adjustment, and you can go into saturation and just make it brighter or darker if you want. Take out the color.
You can even do that in the layer itself.
Yeah, I could have just grabbed her and done it on her outfit by changing the color. Again, there's tons of different ways of changing colors to stuff. Let me do the.
Do you do a lot with the layer blending modes?
No. So I'm gonna try and twist her heel around. I found whenever you're working in the warp,
Better make a copy.
yeah, well, I would have. Whenever you're working in the warp, it got a little blurry. So what you do is you go into filter, sharpen, and just hit sharpen, and it'll take it back to where it was as far as detail goes. Otherwise, it creates, takes the pixels and fuzzes them all up for you. Now you might want that. Yeah, let me show you that too. So say the boot's real detailed. And I do this with my backgrounds. The boot's like real detailed. What you can do is grab her, everything that's behind. Go into filter, go down to blur, and do Gaussian blur. And it gives you Gaussian blur. And see, it blurred her.
What tool is that you're using to cut to trace around the outside?
It's called the lasso tool. It's the third one down on my toolbar. It's called lasso tool, and it's just surround stuff.
It's a cowboy tool.
Trying to look for a background.
Put her in the chipmunk painting.
Say again?
Can you put her in the chipmunk painting background?
Sure. You want me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so another thing you can do, this is another thing I'll do. say I got a lot of these layers, okay? I'm gonna duplicate layers. Duplicate layers, okay? Okay, so it took those 3 layers and it duplicated them, okay? So I like the way her leg is now. I want to save these because I don't want to lose them. So what I do is eyeball out everything else, take this group, go up here and you merge visible and then puts them all together. Okay, but you still have these other ones. So you've not erased them.
Yeah, on that one, you probably could just use the magic wand.
The actual purpose for what we're trying to show today is to mostly get artists more comfortable with the experimentation that Photoshop makes possible. And the idea is to expand your abilities to the point where you can do some of these things and feel more comfortable about doing them because it expands your creativity.
Okay, now
Photoshop,
I've grabbed her, you know, I've surrounded her. I go up here to this direction tool, click on her. It's a cutout, okay? So it's scissors. You just bring her over here into this photo. Okay, I'm not gonna do a big eraser thing here. I'm gonna do is, because her boot will disappear, the white area. So I circled that and I delete.
You are sure fast with the pencil. I can tell you that much.
Say what?
You're pretty fast with the pencil tool. What you're
Yeah, well, I've been at it for a while.
no, the Wacom tool you were using is pretty damn fast.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because it doesn't work this well with my new laptop for some reason. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the outside white.
And you can hold the shift key down and collect more spaces of white.
Yeah, you hold the shift key down and it will grab, you know, it'll keep doing it. Uh-oh. Step backward. Forgot to do that side of the boot. You know, she's going to lose her an earring. So this is another way of getting rid of stuff. So you could delete it. Just hit delete.
But except for the whites, it does a nice job of just giving you the composition.
So you want to get as close as you can to another area, or it'll just keep going on and on and on. Erasers, deselect. Oops. If you ever do that, I just don't apply it. So I'm gonna get closer. and I've not played with this. So edit, and there's right above free transform is puppet warp. Now I've never played around with it, so I don't really know what it does, but our expert might know.
Never used it.
See?
Actually, I have, and it takes a little bit of getting used to, but you set key points. So if you want to set a key point, like basically where you can just see the top of the leg, and then a key point at the knee, and maybe one at the ankle, and then one at the very bottom of the boot, and then you pick a point that you want to use as the rotational angle, and you can pull, let's say you want her to bend at the knee. Well, you just pick that as the rotation point, and then you go to the bottom and you pull it up or down, and you can basically puppet warp.
Now, do you have to hold the shift key?
Boy, it's been a while since I used it. I believe you have to be in that mode, and then you may just have to click on one of those intersecting points in the triangular. There you go. You just laid down a puppet warp. See that little circle with the bullseye?
Yeah.
Every time you click, those are puppet warp points.
Yeah,
So
but
you
then
need-
what's the purpose of it?
Okay, you need at least 3. So set maybe one by the knee.
Oh, by the knee?
Yeah. Okay. And then okay, that's good. So grab one of those ones that you set up, or maybe one at the bottom of the boot, and then just okay, take your mouse and go over there. Okay, to one of those points. One of the one. Okay, and now just move the point and see what happens.
Oh yeah, it extends.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
you're moving the foot just a little bit.
You can spin it and all kinds of crazy stuff. No need for that, but that's kind of fun.
Yeah. That's for those crazy people to work with.
Well, that's kind of cool for if you've got an animal, you don't like the way the leg position is, you can change it.
Well, that's what I use regular warp for. That's why I did with her leg. You know, I mean, that's basically the concept.
Going back to, you can do it multiple ways in Photoshop.
Yeah. Anyway, so she's dancing the life fantasy. You notice she lost her leg, her other leg. Any more questions? Questions? I need questions. Here was one I did. This is a big file here. This is one of the ones I started with when I was doing the bird thing that I just decided to didn't like it. It just got too crowded, too much going on. So that's basically the like I said, I got tons of these. Just for instance, I'll show you. These are all the photos I took just of the birds in the feeder. They're all doing different stuff. I got some that are flying. And I was going to put some flying ones in, but then it took away from the feeder. There was too much distraction with the flying part. So, I mean, this is just like your files that you would have out in, you know, you went to Yellowstone or back at home.
I like the title, No Room.
Yeah, you know what? I was looking at it and yeah, I that was the original one. And then I thought, well, it's kind of like they're going to a restaurant. You can't get a seat at the table. So that's where I did reservations required. Oh, here's one with flying birds. Let's see how, I mean, there's a lot going on, but as soon as you put that bird in there, your eye's going to go right to the bird. But if that's part of the story, okay, you're looking at these birds saying, hey, pal, forget it. You know, yeah, if that becomes part of the story, then that's what you would create. Like I said, I have a whole bunch of different files on it. Is everybody gonna run out and get a tablet and Photoshop suite?
Hey, Steven,
Yes.
have you ever tried Adobe Fresco?
No.
That one's fun to play with.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty well, you know, whatever you use to get to the end result of composing, you know, one photo or two photos for your painting, you know, all the more to you. This is just what I started playing with. It's just, you know.
Oh yeah, I use Photoshop all the time too. I just started playing with the other one because I just got it on my iPad. But it's fun.
Here's one I was just playing around with. Portrait wise. So you guys might know this. This is Martha. And I played around with backgrounds. So I cut her out and I did some lighting and darkening. And so I started with that color. And then this, I grabbed these from other people's paintings, okay? And then distort them, change their color. Going into the brushes. So they got brush tools. I'll use that color. They give you brushes, but you can get more. You can download more brushes. This is one I like using a lot, you know, for tone. It's almost like pencil. If you saw what it really was, it's a big giant leaves, or they're leaves. And so a lot of that back in there is basically that tool there. These are always good if you want violence. So that's a portrait I did recently. It's only 11 by 14. It's a little thing. But this is all the stuff I grabbed just to make it, you know, ideas. I took that face and put it in that hair. You do the same thing with birds and bears and any questions, please. You notice good friend of mine, John Phelps, he goes to me one day, he says, "Is that bird poop you got on that?" And that was the original painting. And so I decided to take it out because although it makes it realistic, whatever.
Well, okay, I've got a question for you. I gather you're primarily a painter and it looks like you're doing acrylics. And I realize that your photoshopping is basically to get ideas for the final painting.
Yep.
But I mean, a lot of your composites are good enough that if you were to print them out, and my inner mine is computer graphics in the shows, did you ever consider just entering a composite as it is and not painting it, but just, like I said, as a...
Oh, like a Photoshop photo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm a painter. Anybody can do that. The photography world is full of it. Didn't used to be, but it's full of it now. I mean, I don't think there's any photographers that just take pictures anymore. They're all manipulated.
Quite true.
Like I found a lot. Let's see, open.
Did you ever play with the paint filters on there too and see what they look like?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to do. Okay, so filter. Now I go into artistic, and there's a lot of different filters. They got color pencil, cutout, dry brush, film grain, paint and daubs. I'll show you what they do. Okay, so this is cutout, and it makes it like a posterized look. So it's the number of levels. So there's basically not many levels in this, and they just keep adding to them. So that almost looks like an old, what would you call it? Print. And you can edge simplicity, you can distort it even more, almost to an abstract form. Okay, now I'm going to go to paint daubs. This is a good one because it's like, you want to get a little blurrier look to a background, that works too. See, this is what all the photographers are using now. Yeah. This is palette knife. Changing the stroke size so you make it bigger. Rough pastels. Sponge. I love Sponge. Sponge makes great backgrounds. But if you wanted to just do the birds, you just grab the birds, make a copy of them, or you just grab the birds. Yeah, you got to make a copy of them and just do the birds. So, I mean, this is what you can play around with. There's tons of stuff in here to play around with. Brush strokes, accent edges, angle strokes, ink outline, sprayed strokes. This makes it look, you see a lot of photographers doing this, making it look like glass. Like you're looking through a window on your rainforest. Ocean ripples, which is pretty much the same.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Does everybody use a Photoshop version that they own, or do you guys do subscription?
I own mine. I got CS5.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is I have CS2, a really old version, and I've used it and it's been fine. But with a new computer, now Apple is pushing me to do the subscription and drop the old software, and I don't
Yep.
want to pay the monthly.
Yeah, in the beginning of our talk, we did a chat, and in the chat box, there's 2 links to Photoshop Elements, which will work similar to the regular Photoshop. And somebody
Okay.
else just I found it for like $149. Joel just purchased it for like $100. So you can shop around,
Okay.
but Photoshop Elements should do what you need to do. It does almost 90% of what everything Photoshop does for what you guys need to do.
Okay, well, thanks. I joined late enough. I missed that part.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I've been following Stephen with Shop Elements. And I've found every tool that he's used today, though sometimes they're in different places or not as obvious to me in the menus. I don't know if I wasn't following Stephen but they may be configured and laid out differently. However, every tool he's used today, I have found in Elements.
This is true.
Elements
Okay.
you can buy Elements, the program, but you can only get their other software by subscription.
Right.
Okay, was that Joel talking?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this is Joel.
Thanks, Joel.
There's also a 30-day trial for Elements,
Oh, okay.
which may have some value.
Yeah, I don't want to give up my full suite that I have, and the old version works okay. I mean, it's fine, but I've got Illustrator and InDesign and everything, but Apple doesn't like it. They want
No,
me
they
to
upgraded their
upgrade.
system. They won't let it play.
Right, that's what's happening.
Almost all software force you into a monthly or yearly income stream instead of buy it once and never buy again. It's
Yep.
a strictly business decision. It sucks, but it's the world we live in now.
Yeah, it's obnoxious, but I understand what they're doing. I just don't like it, darn it.
Now,
Well, if I might make a suggestion on legacy software like that, where they don't want you to use it on a new machine, you can set up a virtual machine and make the software think it's actually running on an older machine. So I don't know enough about virtual machines. I experimented with them once a long time ago, and I'd have to relearn it. But basically, if you've got a brand new Mac, you can make that think it was a 10 or a 15-year-old Mac running an earlier piece of software that would be very happy with your old software. So that would be just, you'd need somebody to figure that out. And, you know, some kid from high school down the block would probably be able to do it, but just a suggestion.
Well, it's interesting you say that because my computer engineer son just said the same thing to me 2 days ago, and now I have to go back to him and say, yeah, let's try it. So anyway, thank you for the input.
You're welcome.
Now, if I have a HP, newer model HP, do I go to the photo area and download the images from there?
Most of my images I've either downloaded, from my phone or from my camera, or I get them off Google World. Like this stuff is inspirational. I recommend everybody do it. You find something you like, compositionally, it's always fun to have it around. Yeah, I mean, start building your own photo file. Save as. What I do is I have them in put everything in pictures, and within pictures are files. So there's art show file, and there's tons of files and pictures.
And when Stephen was talking about save as, if you're on a web page or if you're anywhere that you see an image that you want to save, basically it's right mouse click, and it will say save image as, and then you save it to whatever folder you want to, and you've got a copy. In 95% of the time, there's a few of them won't let you do that, but a very few.
Yeah, most of them are JPEGs, but some are HTLM or whatever, and then you got to click on a certain. There's ways of getting around it. I tried finding one that I could use, but I couldn't.
When you save as, you have the option of what you save it as, a JPEG, a TIFF.
Yeah.
Photoshop.
Let's see, what did I do? Yeah, you might not have been here when I did that.
Sorry.
That's all right. So that's what I did with this one. I right-clicked because it's a, when you look at it, it's a, come on. You can open with, and they give you choices. Now this one, like I said, I opened it, when I first brought it in, it was in Photoshop. And so it wouldn't work in Photoshop. So then I switched it over to Firefox. And so click on Firefox, and I can just scroll down till I find the picture.
That's where it locked up last time.
Yeah. And so then right click it again and save as. And now it's a JPEG. But before I couldn't do that. Yeah, see, it's an HTML document. And there's a lot of them that are like that. And there's ways of getting around, getting to it. But
an HTML document is the web page itself, the code.
Yeah. So basically, like you go to a catalog, like that was a catalog, Shepler's. So it's a catalog, and you just click on the right-click the photo, and then you save as, and it'll be that HTML. Bring it into whatever you have. But there's another way of getting in, and I forgot what it was called.
You can hover the mouse pointer over the image, and then you right click and save image as, and it should save it as a JPEG or a TIFF or whatever.
Well, sometimes they won't let you save it as a JPEG.
Yes, because I've locked it
Yeah.
out, so you can't save it.
You can also do a full screen capture, and that's one way to get around that.
Yeah, that's the only way.
Stingy people not wanting us to have their photos.
You know, some web designers care about that stuff.
Yeah, I know. Any other questions, peeps? So the scanner, when I use it, because way back in the day, before digital cameras, I was using a regular camera. So I have just tons and tons of old photos. And what I like to do is when I scan them, I'll put them in the scanner, and I've got a 1200 DPI scanner. And I'll scan it at 1200 DPI, get as many pixels in there as I can. You know, a lot of times the photo's kind of rugged, you know, with spots and scratches and stuff. There's a tool in there that you can let's see, you go into filter, noise, and there's a despeckle, which will get rid of, let me get closer. Filter, distort, noise, and sear necklace, it fuzzes it out. It gets rid of the detail. Another way to let me do this. Say you want the background to not be in focus. Another way of doing it. Filter, noise, and go down to median.
Some of their names are kind of strange.
Median.
Come here, J baby.
So see, it's detailed, and I just moved it to 1. I can move it to 2. And then you've fuzzed out the detail in the background. Oh, this fish might work too. Is
That tool with your hue and saturation that you showed before about the white highlights, that would work perfect on that, Stephen.
on what?
On that fish, how white it is, you can bring it up.
Yeah, that's what image adjustment. And I use shadow highlights on
That's
that.
the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh,
Where he
Brings the
brought
scales out.
up so much more of that detail of that fish.
Like I said, it works great with clouds too.
May I suggest you go to show more options right down at the bottom of that panel and play with some of those.
Yeah, there's a ton of things in there. No, shadow highlight.
On shadow highlight,
Yep.
bring that up and
Show
go to
more
show more options. There-
Yes, now you can really work on that highlight.
Again, you could spend days doing this. And that was one of the first things I swore about that I was never going to do. I was afraid that, you know, regular people having a computer, you know, they use it for basic stuff, but I always saw it in the hands of an artist. It's a dangerous tool because you could just spend so much time trying to perfect what you're trying to get at, you know, that you're forgetting about the painting part of it.
So we're running up here on 2 hours here. Any more questions here? I don't want to. Or anything else you want Stephen to look at? So we're up, getting close to 2 hours here.
Sound like it would fit me. I didn't know for sure.
Again, Stephen will be out at the SKB workshop in September. He'll be doing some Zoom or in being live. in Du Bois, Wyoming. We have it on our SKB workshop website if you want to register to come out and visit us. Some of the people that are on this talk already are coming. Thank you very much. But if you want to come see us live or on Zoom, we'll be doing all kinds of instruction out in Wyoming coming up this September. Anything else, Stephen?
Well, I was just gonna show them this. This is it's called dry brush. It's in the filter section of artist. And what it does is it's a good way of giving yourself a real simplistic look, at photos. It takes a lot of the detail out. So if you have a hard time in a painting, you're paying too much attention to detail, this gives you a good, it's basically shapes, which you're going after. So, I mean, say you're starting a painting and you just want to have the simplistic part of it, and then you can add more detail back to it. You can do two different visions of it, It's just another tool to use when you're painting.
Cool.
Otherwise, see y'all in Du Bois, Wyoming.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. Thanks, Steve. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Steve.
everybody, for showing up.
Stephen, appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thanks, Steve.
You got it.
Good job, bud.
Thanks.